Love finances, the other F word, and want to support the show? Become a patron by going to patreon.com/FTOFW. You'll get special features, a shout out on the air, and early releases. Or if you prefer, pick up some merchandise at financestheotherfword.com.
As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, and as wonderful an attorney as I am, please do note that anything said in our show are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, and today we have a fun episode where we're going to talk about what the fuck happened to MTV. MTV turned 40 August 1st, and for Xers out there, you have seen the sweeping, ascension of MTV, and we have seen its completely demoralizing decline. But first, before I kick it over to Zoe to talk about the golden age of MTV, we need to welcome a new country.
Yes, we do. Welcome to Botswana.
Botswana, that's a cool name to say. Botswana. Yeah, we are like, Africa has given us some love, and I appreciate that a lot. That's awesome. Plus, I'm getting a good geography lesson because she had no idea where Botswana was. I had no idea. I could have probably put it in Africa somewhere. You could
have, but just as easily you could have put it in India or.
Well, no, because Botswana doesn't sound Indian.
No. So you would have gone Africa,
probably,
maybe Europe, maybe East Asia.
I would have said somewhere in the East. And then I would have just been totally fine. I would have covered all bases.
Did you see the meme that I put on Instagram the other day of Americans' version of geography? It's fucking hilarious. Go back and look at it.
Dude, I don't know why I don't know why we suck at geography so bad. I honestly think we're just raised so centric that we just assume that. So like, this is the honest truth before we get into the MTV thing. There is, for all of you guys who are Americans who listen to us, if you look at any map of the world, you'll see that the United States is a pretty sizable country on the map. But if you Google real size map, you'll actually see that over here in the United States, we have blown up our country. Literally, you guys, I'm not fucking making this up. We have blown up our country to make it look much bigger than it is. And when you actually see a real world map and you see the size of the United States, it is significantly smaller than we have been taught in school. And I think it's that American mindset is why we just...
America, fuck yeah.
I mean, no, seriously, but you guys, you have to Google that shit. I did not know that was a thing, and it is a fucking thing. And so I want you guys to look at that. That doesn't mean that Americans are bad, because obviously I'm an America. But yeah, you need to know that. So Botswana, welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, and so let's talk about what the holy fucking hell happened to MTV, for God's sakes.
Well, let's start with the birth of MTV. Now, of course, it started in America. It was launched in America, August 1st, 1981. Now, Mel will go into her absolute adoration of MTV in a second. And I was trying to remember why it wasn't such a big deal for me. And now it makes sense because we didn't have MTV in Britain.
You didn't watch your MTV?
We didn't have it. We didn't have no MTV until MTV Europe was launched on August 1st, 1987. So we were 6 years behind you already.
Well, and MTV wasn't really, that's not really MTV.
Okay. Either way, I'm just saying we didn't even have it for 6 years. And then I don't even remember having access to it for a while. But so, still, the first video ever played on American MTV, I think everyone should know. And we had it on our little game show, our trivia show.
Yes, we did.
What was it, Mel?
It is Video Killed the Radio Star. Yes, and we will be doing the trivia show again at some point once all my tech issues are resolved.
Right. So that was the first video ever played on American MTV. And now it makes sense as well, because I always thought it was a different song. And that was because the first video ever played on British or European MTV was Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. So that's why, I was still right, even though I was wrong. Right.
Well, and the reason why they probably played that one is because of the hook, I want my MTV in the song. So yes. A little self-serving. But I mean, I would have done the same thing. So good on them, I guess.
Sure. Now, I've posted quite a few articles recently on our Facebook page. So I'm going to refer you to them. But I'm also going to be talking about them. The first one was an article written on July 30th for NPR by Raina Duris. And she writes about the first 100 videos ever played on MTV. And it's really excellent article because it takes you to the YouTube links to each video. And there's some classics.
Memory lane right there.
Memory lane. So I'm not going to bore you with all 100. I just picked out my top 10 out of the 100. We won't count the first one, which Mel already said was Video Killed the Radio Star. My favorite out of the top 100 were Who, You Better, You Better, You Bet. Right?
What?
You better, you bet. The Who. You don't remember that song?
I do not know that song.
You better, you bet. No, even if I sing it, it's not gonna.
I swear I've never heard that song. I don't know a lot of the Who. The only song there's people out there, listeners that are screaming at right now, and I apologize if the Who is your band, is Rain, O or Me. That's the only song by the Who that I really know. That? I mean, besides it, it's the Who.
Is it?
I have it on my phone. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I believe you.
I'll put it on the playlist. Oh, okay. Plus, I mean, obviously, Who Are You and all the other.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Who. And the only reason anyone.
CSI.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving on. Pretenders, Brass in Pocket.
Yes.
Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. Now tell me there isn't a person alive who doesn't do that drum solo while they're in their car, in their shower, taking a poo.
I was going to say taking a shit if it comes on. I'm like in the middle of getting ready to wipe. Where's that stolen humor? Just like, wait, stop. And then back at business.
Absolutely.
This is like potty humor. This is horrible. We're not even dudes. I'm disappointed. I just disappointed myself. I hurt my own feelings.
Well, because in 2.5 years, we haven't every single episode talked about poo or balls or
billies. Yeah, I know. But I mean, it just is like
we've
right
elevated ourselves, have we? In the past week?
We have elevated and we're doing exactly what happened to MTV.
Okay. The next one, number 4 on my list of top 10 out of the top first 100 videos is Rod Stewart. Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Oh my God. He was wearing like a red or pink, like skin tight. God, I think it was red though. I think he was wearing like a red skin tight, and that song is still awesome though.
Oh God, isn't it?
Yeah, that is like one of the best songs ever written about a one night stand. I'm like, good on you, man. And
then we have Stevie Nicks, Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
With Tom Petty, which that was Tom Petty's song, but he invited Stevie and he kind of sang like her backup on it. I used to not like Tom Petty's voice or Stevie Nicks' voice. So when I heard that song, I was like, this is the worst song I've ever heard in my life. And then sometime in my 20s, I started liking Stevie Nicks' voice, with the exception of Stand Back. But it took me like probably early 30s before I was like, oh, Tom Petty's voice doesn't drive me crazy.
And then now you love him to bits.
I fucking love him. Yeah.
Oh, that's mental.
That's how I do it.
Okay, next one on my list is Elvis Costello, Oliver's Army, which I just love. No? Awesome. Oliver's Army is here to stay. Oliver's Army is here to
The only song I know by him is Veronica.
Oh.
Veronica. That's it. That is the end of my Elvis Costello knowledge. I know no other song.
Okay, so we'll move on from there. Next one, Kate Bush, Wuthering Heights. Love that song. No, okay.
I don't know that song. But Kate.
Oh God, I'm so good.
Kate, you're wonderful. Kate Bush. I have not been a fan of hers.
Oh, me neither.
Still, I hear running up that hill, running up that building. I hate that song I've mentioned this on a previous show. I fucking hate that song with the passion. I fucking hate it, dude.
Okay, well, you are going to have to listen to all of these songs when you put them on our Spotify
playlist. I just put them on and then I ignore them.
All right. So the next one on my list is The Specials, A Message to You, Rudy. Remember that? No? A lot of these are, in fact, almost all of them are British because they did heavily favour the British in their first 100 videos because in Britain we'd already started making videos a long time before. So a lot of the British... No, it's
Are
true.
you sure? Because
I'm absolutely sure.
Okay, because the original videos were just things that they made to show the record execs the new song that is coming out.
You can check and double check my research.
I will.
But we
I
already
want a
had
link.
no, because we already had places that would play videos like our music
Then why did
programs.
it take you 6 years to get MTV?
I can't answer that question. Anyway,
I think your research is
to
faulty.
you, Rudy. Anyway, here's another one. My 9th song is Blondie, Heart of Glass.
Yes.
Yes. She's yawning. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I love that song, and I actually got to see Blondie a couple years ago, but of course she's in her 70s now, so it wasn't quite as good. But she was hot. Yeah. Holy shit, man! Mm-hmm. She's in the Heart of Glass video. Her hair's kind of crazy, and for my male, and female listeners out there, in the video, she's wearing like this really nice like little dress, and her nipples are like rock hard.
Excellent, good story,
and no bra. I mean, obviously, if you can see her nipples there, it was seriously like, we're going to watch it after this. Her nipples are amazing in that video.
And then you're also going to look up why British musicians had videos way before Americans.
Okay. I mean, I still think but we'll look it up.
Okay. And then my last one on my top picks from the first 100 videos on MTV was Ultravox Vienna. Just because it reminds me of that time period. You don't remember that one either?
No, I don't know.
Vienna. No, Meteor, Ultravox.
I don't know how you picked the most obscure videos out of the first 100.
Like I said, a lot of them were British artists.
Right.
And I've told you why, and she's going to eat her words when she's double-checked, apparently, my research. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a really good article to check out and look at all the YouTube videos. Another great article that I posted was by Lindsay Parker for Yahoo Entertainment that she wrote on 31st of July. And I'm not going to go into it in any great length, but she interviewed all the original VJs. She interviewed Martha Quinn, Mark Goodman, Nina Blackwood, and Alan Hunter. Obviously, JJ Jackson died in 2004. But it's a really interesting interview with all of them about, how they were recruited for MTV and all about the first night and just how their careers went on from there. And so, I just wanted to mention that. Yeah,
Nina Blackwell, she has Blackwood. If you have Sirius, the 80s on 8 or whatever, she sounds like she has been smoking 5 packs of cigarette a day every day since she was a newborn. I mean,
her voice is great though.
I don't know, dude. Her voice, she sounds like.
I know, but I love it. I just love that kind of gravelly,
gross, disgusting, tobaccoed out voice. Okay,
well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it is. But I still I like her voice.
Who was the Adam Curry is who I'm thinking of. The Adam Curry was the blonde guy.
Don't remember.
Oh God, that's right. Because you had it 6 years past after having videos first. God.
Okay. Now, the next article was by Gary Graff, who wrote for Ultimate Classic Rock and did this article on the 31st of July. And it was about the 10 classic rock acts that benefited from MTV's launch. And he actually said in his article that the UK musicians were already familiar with videos. And so they were featured quite prominently early on. And in the first 100. Anyway, so I'm going to quickly run through the 10 rock acts that he felt benefited most from the launch. And his first was Pat Benatar.
She's not British, though.
No, it wasn't British.
Okay, good.
Necessarily.
She's American. I'm just saying.
But if you wait a little fucking second, You'll hear that her label was British-founded Chrysalis Records, and they had already got her ready with videos before MTV. So she was all set, and she had videos ready, and her song or her video for "You Better Run" was the second video ever played on MTV. So there. The next band was REO Speedwagon. And they had already got plenty of videos for the overseas market because, as I said, Britain and Europe already was playing your fucking videos way before MTV. So their videos for "Keep on Loving You" and "Take It on the Run" were two of the first videos played on MTV, and they were actually the first ever band to have a full concert air on MTV. So, Rod Stewart. We just mentioned him. He was already a superstar, but MTV helped boost him even further. Now listen to all of these songs that were played right at the start of MTV. "She Won't Dance With Me," which was the third song ever played on MTV. "I Am Sailing," which is such a super song. "Do You Think I'm Sexy" and "Passion" were all in the first 100 videos to be played on MTV. So he got right
lots
in there.
of airplay.
Yeah. Now, Robert Plant, my mum went on a date with his cousin or his brother or something.
Did she have a threesome with Robert?
I think she would have. I think she would have loved to.
I would have fucking done it,
but I'm not sure she did. Now
Robert Plant back in the day.
Yeah,
man.
He was going solo from Led Zeppelin.
Even
by that point,
even in the quietest moments, that was Robert Plant's big CD with Big Log on it. Oh, I fucking love that song.
Well, MTV helped him, launch his solo career with his rendition of Elvis Presley's Little Sister, which they aired on their first day. And they went on to play numerous of his other songs, including "Burning Down One Side" and "Big Log," which just made me giggle like a teenager.
No, it does. And it has nothing. He never says "Big Log" in there. It has nothing to do with the song. It's like, for me, for those of you who live in Vegas and or anywhere where it's warm, it is a driving through the desert at night with the top down song all fucking day. I'll put that on. Oh, I love that song. The beginning of the words are amazing. It is one of my favorite fucking songs to this day. It's so good.
Don't know I've ever heard it, but I need to.
My love is in league with the freeway. The nations will ride and cities fly by.
Big Log.
No.
And I did a big log.
No, it goes, "And the questions in thousands take flight." You know it.
Okay, if you say so.
Look at it. We'll play it after this. It'll be on the playlist. One of my favorite songs, you guys. If you've never heard it, fucking treat yourself to this song. I'm telling you.
Okay. The fifth band that Gary Graff said benefited from MTV's launch was another British band, The Police. Now, again, he says, and I say, the Brits were already doing videos, so they had videos from 3 albums all ready to go. And MTV helped make their album Synchronicity a huge hit in America in 1983, and also later assisted Sting with his solo career when he launched it in 1985. So
yeah. Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Yeah.
Came, I think it was off Synchronicity, maybe, or maybe it was off, I don't know. It was 85 or 86. All I remember is, and I've mentioned this on a previous show, but Mel's feeling a little feisty right now. And we're not doing a visual on this one, so I don't know why I keep looking at the camera like I'm talking to somebody, but what's up, camera that's turned off. I saw that video and I was like, I want to be the fucking girl in that video. Dude, which I mean, back in hindsight now, it'd be like, okay, that's a little gross and pedophilia-ish, but yeah, I mean, that song used to do it for me.
Gross.
It's Sting, tantric.
The thought of him and Trudy doing it for 12 hours at a time makes me want to vomit in my mouth. But
I would watch that.
You would?
Hell yeah, I would. Are you kidding me?
Okay, I got to move on.
Find it. Send me the link. I'll watch it.
And I so will not. But you know what she'll do? She'll text me it. And I won't know what I'm opening. And that'll be it. Trudy and Sting, tantricking all over the place. Burned into my mind. Okay, the next band, more British people, The Pretenders. So fellow...
Oh, okay, she's not British. She's from Ohio. Chrissy Hines is from Ohio. Don't make me fucking Google it right now.
Google it.
I'm Googling that shit. Okay, you just look.
Can I carry on while you Google it? And you can prove me wrong because I'm going to prove you so wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
On the videos. I don't know about that. I thought at least her band was British, even if she wasn't. Anyway, she again had... Where's she from?
Christine Ellen Hind is an American singer-songwriter and musician. She was born in Akron, Ohio. Fuck yeah, Mel. Oh!
Okay, so were the...
She just happens to hate America, and that's why she moved to England, and she's been very vocal about saying how much she hates America.
So was the rest of the Pretenders, they were from Britain, though?
Maybe.
Okay, so either way... goodness me. The Pretenders and American... vocalist, British, Chrissy Hind, already had a bunch of videos, and so Brass in Pocket, Message of Love, Kid, and Talk of the Town all aired on the first day. So they did rather well too. And then it continues. The Who, more British people with bags of videos at the ready. They just released a new album called Face Dances. And so You Better You Bet and Don't Let Go of the Coat from that album were aired. And their performance from concerts for the people of Kampuchea also aired, and they were a fixture of MOT? What the fuck is wrong with me? Edit that out.
I know, we're keeping it in. That's extra work for me. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
Mixture of a fixture of MTV over the years. Moving on. Queen. MTV launch came just in time for their Queen's Greatest Flicks, companion to their Greatest Hits album in 1981, and they had 18 of their videos, including a clip for Killer Queen. Their radio support had ebbed, but MTV remained supportive and helped continue their success.
Fame.
Yeah, fame, whatever. Couldn't think of the word there.
It's really not that hard of a word to think of, so I'm not really sure why you had issues with it, but...
Because I'm having issues in general. Rounding up to the last two rock acts that benefited from MTV's launch are my favourites, my daddy's favourites, Phil Collins' Genesis. In the Air Tonight was already a hit and had a great cool video to go with it, and then Genesis already had a bunch of videos too, and they continued to churn them out, and often their videos were very clever or funny, and so MTV loved them, so they did well from it too. And finally, I don't know who this dude is, Mel, you might, but Todd Rundgren.
Oh, hello, it's me. Yeah, the Todd Rundgren, yeah.
Okay.
Josita loves him for some reason. That's the reason why I know. That's the song that he sings, hello, it's me, something, something. That's all I know. I literally think the song is titled Hello, It's Me, and that's the only reason why I remember that part.
I have to, I'm sure I probably know the song when I hear it.
It's on like the level of like Air Supply. And yeah.
Well, Time Heals was the 8th video played on MTV the day it launched. He'd gotten no real love from the radio, and MTV was a godsend for him. So, and then finally, I'm kind of going into Mel's arena here, so I'll probably just chime in with her. But another great article to read is by Brian Reisman for NBC News Think, that he wrote on published on 1st of August, and it was entitled MTV Once Rocked, but now it's hit rock bottom. And he just, I think like most of us, attributes their downfall to when they stopped playing music and started showing the awful reality shows. And that just was, the end, really. And I think Mel's going to kind of take it from there.
Yeah, it was interesting when I was going through this because I didn't want to step on the research that Zoe did, and I knew she'd cover a lot of the music part. But I'm really there in one of the articles that I read, and I'll have all of the resources and all Zoe's resources if she has it in there in the show notes for you in case you want to be entertained. But when I was actually looking through it, there was a line in one of the articles that said, I doubt that anyone under 30, much less anyone under 40, is even pining over the decline of MTV. because they've only known it as shit. And I started really thinking about it. I was like, well, MTV is very much a Gen Xer thing. You know, when it came on the air in 1981, I was in kindergarten, I think. And, you know, I didn't get MTV because the same thing is that, you know, for the millennials out there, cable used to be fucking super expensive. I guess it's kind of still expensive now. And you had to have cable in order to get MTV. And then, you know, we used to have satellite dishes, but they were as big as your fucking, like, backyard. I mean, these satellite, did you guys have them in England? Like, literally, they were, you guys, they looked like real fucking satellites, like NASA would use. These things were huge. They had to pour, we had one in Florida, they had to pour concrete, and then fucking put this thing in there. This bitch was so fucking big. And you had a controller that was like the size of like almost, like a, I don't know, not an 8.5 by 11, but take an 8.5 by 11 and fold it in half, like literally that size. And you had to go like it was like playing fucking bingo. It was like F10. And then it would go, and you hear it, go, this big fucking, like this, it was like the Death Star, you guys, right. Like fucking moving. And then what would happen is it would shoot towards that one satellite that carried that one channel, and then it would find it on there. The good news is that when satellites first came out, the Playboy channel was uncensored. And even though my grandfather caught Marianne and I watching it a lot, we tried to convince him, and he knew what we were doing, but we told him that we wanted to watch MTV.
Right.
And then as soon as he went to bed, like we could not change it to Playboy channel fast enough. And then we would watch it all night. And then what we would do is we would move the satellite back to MTV. But I'm sure since it was right outside their bedroom, they probably heard it. I mean, you guys.
The girls are watching porn again.
Yes. And we were, and it was fantastic. And Marianne told me some stories about that actually were kind of disturbing, things I said at that age, but doesn't surprise me at all. And so that's the only way you could get MTV. But MTV back in the day only played music. So we would, you know, I would have friends stay over, and this is why this is very much MTV. I realized through this research that MTV is very much a Gen Xer thing. And we would start watching MTV after dinner, 7:38, and we would watch it until 2, 3 in the morning. And like Zoe touched on, everybody besides the British were having to get on board with the videos. And so there wasn't a lot of videos. So they just, and you know, 24 hours in a day, you'd be surprised. I mean, you think an average song is maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and you would see the same videos over and over again, and we'd fucking watch them and watch them and watch them and watch them, and until we just literally passed out in front of the television. And that was how it was all through the 80s. And then the 90s came around, and then they started doing a little unplugged stuff and things like that. And so what ended up happening is that MTV got purchased by Viacom CBS. And, you know, we had a whole bunch of different shows that were on MTV, and I literally just did these from my head. I didn't Google any of this stuff, so I'm sure that there's going to be some shows out there that people watch that I missed, but I literally just sat here and I'm like, what did I used to watch on MTV before it went to shit? So, Yo MTV Raps, Liquid Television, Beavis and Butthead, and this is when you could actually watch, this is when you could actually watch when it first aired on MTV, it had real videos that were on MTV at the time intermixed in with it. And so I think one of my friends bought me the first season of Beavis and Butthead, and I was all excited because I really wanted to be able to look back through it and see all of the old videos and stuff like that. But the Beavis and Butthead DVDs do not have the videos in it because he did not own any of the licensing rights. And so there was no way that he could put them in there, which begs the question how he got away with putting them in there in the first place, but whatever. And it was really fun, and I loved that. 120 minutes. That was like the new age one. Dial MTV. Dial MTV, for those of you who got caught on MTV later, Dial MTV was the predecessor to TRL, which is Total Request Live. And what you used to do is you used to literally dial in and vote for a song. Now, this is before record companies got on board and started having people call in to try to push their numbers up. Same thing with Total Request Live. But the reason why Dial MTV has a special place in my heart is because the very first video that they ever had to retire on Dial MTV because it kept getting number one. Do you remember what it was?
I wasn't watching it.
Oh, that's right, because you didn't have
I'm British.
It was Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue.
Oh.
And so many people requested that song that they literally, I remember watching them and they said they had to retire the song because it was like some stupid amount of time that it was on there, and I'm going to check before we get off here, but they had to retire Home Sweet Home. And then of course it turned into TRL, which was stupid with a whole bunch of fucking screaming idiots and stuff like that. The other one was Remote Control, which was a game show. And I think that was where Jenny McCarthy might have gotten hers, or maybe that was Singled Out, or Carmen Electra was on one of them, but they have a remote and they were in a recliner. And if they got listeners, if you guys watch MTV, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If they got an answer wrong, all of a sudden their chair would shoot back into the wall and all these monsters, people in masks would come out and act like they're, I don't know, doing whatever. Tons of spring breaks, just wherever the hot place for spring breaks, tons of those. Which again had, Jenny McCarthy's and Carmen Electra's and all the VJs and everything like that. And then whoever was hot in the day and a whole bunch of chicks in bikinis and guys who looked really nice. And, basically beefy, 20-somethings getting laid and drunk. I mean, good on them. Headbangers Ball, which is my favorite. And most people, especially if you're millennial age, you only remember Headbangers Ball when Kurt Cobain showed up to the Headbangers Ball, I believe, in a yellow ball gown, like literally full on ball gown. And he said, oh, well, this is a ball. So I wore a ball gown, and ball still makes me laugh. But Headbangers Ball used to be like where they would play the non-commercial metal. And so you could see stuff on that. And that was like, I think Saturday nights from like 9 to 1 or something. And that's too long. It was a couple hours. And originally, I think it was Adam Curry, who they tried to make him look edgy by putting a leather jacket on him when he was clearly like not an edgy guy. Then they got Ricky Rackman in there, and then he took over Headbangers Ball, and he was much more of the rocker thread. And so Headbangers Ball, they would play Wasp and, all that stuff. And they didn't play like a lot of Motley Crue and stuff because that was more the daytime, except Girls, 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 which they originally had an uncensored version, which MTV wouldn't play. So then they played the other version. Like Motley Crue did an uncensored version on purpose to force MTV to play the one they wanted them to play, which was, that basically nipples were covered, but everything else was out. And again, if I could have been a groupie for Motley Crue in the 80s, I fucking totally would have done it all day long. So Headbangers Ball, I remember fondly. MTV Unplugged, that came around in the early 90s. Daria. The MTV News, which was always my favorite. They also played reruns of The Young Ones.
You had the young ones.
We had the young ones.
Oh, I love the young ones.
And I remember that was my first introduction besides Benny Hill to British humor. And I remember watching it like, what the fuck is going on? Like the guy that was supposed to be the punk rock one that wasn't really smart. I remember he went in this one girl's purse and he was like, oh my God, a gift for me. It was a tampon. And it had the wrapper, and he's like, a little present. He opens it up and he's like, oh my God, it's a mousey. And then he's like, with a telescope. So he's like using the applicator to like do the telescope in and out. And then he's like playing, of course, the tampon is not used, you guys. I mean, because we're classy, keep it classy. And then he's like grabbing it by the string and he's like bouncing around. He's like, oh, mousey wants a drink. And he throws it in somebody's whatever they're drinking, wine or something. And of course they're horrified. And I remember watching it going, what am I watching? What the fuck is this? But then I watched it a couple more times. I'm like, okay, I get it. And then at one point, for you guys who were diehard MTV watchers, they played reruns of Speed Racer. Yep. And then there was that mix that came out, I want to say in the early 90s, where I can't remember who did it. And I don't even know how to even Google that to get it. But it was like Speed Racer. But it was like, oh, Speed. And then he would go Trixie. And then it was like basically make them sound like they're having sex. It was pretty intense, I got to tell you. So I don't know if anybody out there knows what I'm talking about or remembers who did that mix. Please, for the love of God, hit us up on the DM so I can fucking find that song again. It was very sexual. The Osbournes, which I never watched, but Marianne was a devout watcher of the Osbournes. Well, and he's British, so of course you would. Celebrity Deathmatch. Do you remember that? Mm-mm. They were claymation celebrities that they would go in a ring and then they would fight. I think it was part of Liquid Television. And they would go in and they would fight each other. And it was like this really outlandish thing. They also had a couple clips coming in there from Max Headroom. This is just stuff off the top of my head.
I remember Max Headroom. I love that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Dennis Leary. He would come in and he would do little commercials and he'd always talk about Cindy Crawford and how hot she was. And of course the VMAs, which have went to complete and utter fucking shit. But for any of you guys who might be of age that you can remember Madonna, when she really broke wide open was when she did Like a Virgin on VMAs and the white wedding dress. And at the time, everybody was still, for whatever reason, wearing tuxedos. So they were going to the VMAs in full tuxedos, like they were going to the fucking Oscars. And so that's why when she came out, she's, writhing around on the floor and all this stuff, people were like shocked and appalled. But I remember watching that like, holy shit, like she's, basically banging the air. And so I wanted to see what MTV is. So that's like combined with Zoe's, all of her video references, plus my, like, I fucking watched MTV literally until my eyes bleed. And I wanted to give honorable mention to VH1. Video Hits 1. That's what it stood for. VH1 came out a couple years after MTV, and they played much calmer videos like Sade and, stuff like that. So I barely watched VH1 because at the time I wasn't into Sade. Now she's fucking amazing. So I wanted to see what the fuck has become of MTV. Because everybody says that they don't play music anymore, which I, just from when I tried to watch it many, 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 many years ago, I was like, what the fuck am I even watching? And so we had a couple things, and Zoe alluded to it a little bit. The very first episode, season 1 of The Real World, aired May 21st of 1992. Now, when MTV originally did that, they weren't trying to do a reality show. They were trying to make a soap opera that they could sell to networks with high drama, but they didn't want to pay real well-known actors, so thus created The Real World. And of course, it was a hit. And then for my my Xers out there, you remember in February 18th of 1994, because I had to look up the date, Reality Bites came out. So it was a movie with Winona Ryder, Ben Stiller, and Ethan Hawke.
Ooh, Ethan Hawke,
yeah, back in the day. But, the thing is that like Ben Stiller was a great guy in the movie and he really liked Winona, and Ethan Hawke was a loser, call it what it was. And she leaves Ben Stiller, this really great guy who loves her to death and, making good money, so that she can go boink Ethan Hawke, who like totally blew her off. And I was just like, really, women? Like this is our example, but whatever. And Janine Garofalo was in it. And it was I think Winona Ryder was making a reality documentary. That's why it's called Reality Bites. And so when I looked up to see what MTV was doing, I came across an interesting article. Apparently there is a show called Ridiculousness.
I love it. I'm sorry. I watch it all the time.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm serious. I love the dude. What's his name? Dresnick or whatever it is, who hosts it, the skateboarder. And it's funny as fuck. I'm sorry. Me and the boys and Todd.
You guys, I wish to God you had visual on me right now. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's funny. That's probably the only thing I watch that is played on MTV. But yeah,
well,
it's funny.
It's not that's played on MTV. It is literally the only thing that is played on MTV now. Okay, so check this out. So Variety reported that in a stretch of 168 hours of MTV, in late June, 113 hours of it was Ridiculousness. Was this fucking show, which I have never heard of, and I've never heard of this fucking dude. His name is Rob something. Supposedly he's a skateboarder or was a skateboarder or some kind of shit.
He's cool. He's fun.
And so they take viral videos. This is where Zoe and I are going to start splitting off here. They take viral videos from the internet and then they talk shit about them, which if you remember, for those growing up in the 80s, it was like America's Funniest Home Videos, where like you would literally see people do stupid things and they got fucked up. They broke something and we're like, that's so funny. Look at that guy that was an asshole and tried to jump from the roof of his house into a swimming pool, and he went face first on the ground. Okay, motherfuckers probably broke every bone in his face, but that's hilarious. And this is along the same lines. And I am disgusted and not surprised, but more disgusted that you fucking watch. Not only that you watch it, that you fucking love it. That you guys, I can't. Dude, seriously, a little bit. I gotta tell you, Zoe, it went down a little bit.
I'm sorry, but I like Rob. He used to have a show with his best friend that I watched before that, Rob and Big, but his Big has died since, and they were best buddies. And that was, it was a reality show, but they were funny together. And he is he is very funny. And he has 2 co-hosts with him, and one is awful. She's got the worst laugh in the world. It's like, she's a silly, dumb blonde. And she's some rapper, West Coast, something or other. I can't remember her name. Or it could be East Coast. I can't remember. She's some coast and she's awful. And then some other rapper, I think he is, that co-hosts, and he's funny. And then they have special guests on sometimes. But okay, I'm sorry.
This is way too far into this stupid show that I thought we were going to get. I swear to God. Zoe and I do not compare notes before we do this, as you could tell, because if she were to tell me that she liked ridiculousness, I would have been like, we're not airing this episode. This is fucking awful. So to Zoe's point, which she is one of the reasons that they have this garbage programming on, it started in 2011, and it is 17 seasons deep to date. Mm-hmm. And he has been this Dierdreck.
It's Rob Dierdreck, I think is how you say it.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. He's been on MTV for 14 years.
He was a world famous skateboarder before.
Yes, but he's in his mid-40s now. And this is the deal. MTV used to be hot, young VJs. There was an episode of The Simpsons where Lisa and Bart are watching MTV Spring Break, and there's a VJ on there, a girl who's, of course, in a bikini. And she's like, oh, this is so great. And today's my birthday. And then they're like, and then she has a chip in her hand that starts going off, like flashing a light. And she goes, no, but I'm only 26. And then like somebody stiff arms her out of the way. And then like another younger VJ comes into the thing who's also in a bikini. She's like, hey, what are we, doing some stupid shit. But that's what MTV used to be. MTV used to be fucking hot people. And so there's this guy in the mid-40s, and I know fucking Gen Xers are not watching it. And the reason why Viacom CBS changed to this, but you fucking are the exception to every rule with TV. I swear to fucking God. So with this, Viacom CBS made a very specific choice to stop playing videos under the guise that they said, who wants to see the same video, over and over and over again. But the bottom line is that it always comes down to money. And reality television is cheap to produce, especially if you're just literally pulling videos off of the internet. They probably pay hardly nothing for this guy in his entourage. And the thing is that they are in just in a studio. So it is literally the cheapest thing. So MTV has completely shifted their whole demographic focus to 18-year-olds and younger, which is so fucking sad. And all of this bullshit started with The Real World that aired in 1992, and I watched it. I watched the first Real World when they were in New York, and then I think they went to San Diego after that, and I watched the second one, the second season of it, and then after that it kind of got spotty. But from 1995 to 2000, the number of music videos that MTV showed on the station dropped by 36.5%, and then that was the fucking decline. And in February of 2001, the network's president at the time, Van Toffer, told Billboard that clearly the novelty of just showing music videos has worn off, and added non-music video shows like Jackass just get more press. And Jackass was one of those shows I also never watched. And so he goes on to say it required us to reinvent ourselves for a contemporary audience, which I think is for a much more moronic audience as far as I'm concerned. And so Viacom CBS is still continuing this with their general manager, Tanya Giles, who basically came out and said, you know what, the watching ridiculousness, and this is probably Zoe's thing, is like eating comfort food, because it appeals across multiple generations and people can just sit there and watch it and watch it and watch it. And then that's why they put giant chunks of the show back to back to back to back because it is more, the margin for advertising is better because the overhead on these things are so low. And so I really, as I was going through this, I wanted to segue into something that seems like it's not connected, but it's really connected. So for those of you who may or may not be on TikTok, you know that we have a channel on TikTok. And I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok because the algorithm of TikTok, along with most social media algorithms, is generated by drama. So the more people that comment, the more people that get upset, is when they start putting your videos in front of more people. And in our montage of different videos that we have on TikTok, there are a couple videos of me losing my shit at people for giving shit poor financial advice that are not qualified to do it. And the thing is that anybody who knows me knows that pretty much my permanent state is pissed off. I'm very quick to anger, unfortunately, and I get very agitated at stuff. So it's not a far stretch from who I am by any means. But the algorithm on TikTok seems to eat that shit up. And the thing is that I have been having a crisis of conscience because I just don't want to be pissed off all the time. And I know that with a lot of people, they consume TikTok because they want that drama. And I just thought, fuck, I don't want to be pissed off all the time. But at the same time, there is so much bad financial advice out there that I just want to fucking go save everybody from themselves and from these idiots who have no ramifications and no liabilities to the piss poor advice that they're giving people. And again, for anybody who knows me, closing the gap between the 1% and the 99% is a big deal, but we're not ever going to get there if we're letting asshole reality people who are just trying to make a name for themselves off of social media give you piss poor advice. And so when I saw the trajectory of what's happening to MTV with the reality television shows as a way to make money and increase their profit margin, I mean, let's put it this way, the channel is declining. We know that. It really pissed me off, and it made me reflect more on social media as a whole. And I don't know what the deal is with like MTV. If it was, maybe if we would have had social media around, maybe, jackasses and stuff like that wouldn't have been such a popular thing. But I'm really going back and forth because I want to entertain listeners, but at the same time, I want to educate listeners. And I feel like if I don't put the garbage videos up on TikTok, then I'm not doing what I can to get publicity or at least eyes on the show. But at the same time, to do those videos all the times like hurts my heart. And so this is just a weird connection. But as I'm sitting here going through MTV and seeing, everything that they've done, it just made me think of like just Gen Xers as a whole as a generation. We didn't really fit in back in the day. And now, even though we all participate in social media in varying degrees, it was more the decline of MTV. I think the reason why it upsets me so much, like there's a meme that Zoe posted on our Instagram that said, MTV turns 40, thanks for 14 years of music. And it's completely true. But I think the reason why this episode hurt my heart so much was because of the fact that it just makes me see the decline of everything. Plus, I mean, if you're a Gen Xer, MTV was just such a beloved part of growing up for anybody. And so I know that's kind of a weird kind of coming around the point, but I just wanted to put that in there. And eventually MTV is going to either have to change their name or they're going to have to go off the air because it's fucking stupid. Change it to just RTV or something for ridiculousness. But if it's not ridiculousness, it's going to be something else. And she's still laughing, you guys. It's fucking, I can't even believe it. I'm pouring out my heart and I'm doing like public commentary on just how we're declining as a civilization and as generation after generations are consuming this shit. And she's over there laughing because she's probably thinking of a fucking episode. She is. She's nodding her head. You guys, this is what the fuck is even happening right now?
No. To be fair, it has no place on MTV. MTV has no place calling itself MTV anymore. But for me, having teenage children in the house. It's something that they will actually sit down and watch with us, and we will sit and can watch for, an hour or whatever and be in the same room without, where they will actually sit down. So for me, it's a kind of generational ridiculousness that we can all participate in. But you're right in everything else that you said. And I did just want to echo some words that Brian Reisman had said in the last article I'd referred to, and that I really totally agree with, is that MTV is now musically irrelevant, which it totally is.
Clearly. And
that YouTube is a new MTV. Mm-hmm. That's where people go these days to look at new music, as well as probably Spotify and other music platforms like that. That's where people go to for music. They certainly aren't going to MTV. So
absolutely. And that's a great lead in. How we'll close this episode out is that if you guys refer to episode 315, we talked about Vivo, which stands for Video Evolution. And Vivo, if you go on YouTube to look at any video, 9 times out of 10 in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see it says Vivo. And as we touched on that episode, and it's a fun little episode if you were wondering who the fuck Vivo is, because I was wondering who the fuck it was, because I only go to YouTube to watch music videos because you can't see them anywhere else. And it is a company that was started by 3 separate record labels. They had a 4th one, but then the 4th one, it joined and left, and I can't remember it. Listen to the episode. I have all the names and stuff in there. But they came together and they pooled their licensing rights with the hope of taking the place of MTV and taking down MTV and try to be a subscription service for music videos. But of course, nobody wanted to pay for that. And so they ended up becoming basically the company that provides YouTube with the videos and the licensing rights to play them. And then they split the ad revenue with Google from that. So Vivo is now kind of the new MTV. And, you can listen, like I said, that aired on June 17th of this year. So episode 315, if you want to listen to that. And as always, you guys can follow us on Finances, the Other F Word, and you can follow Lily Lou Mittens on Instagram. And you can also check out our social medias. You can slide into our DMs if you have any feedback, or hit us up at a text at 775-537-4352. And you can go to our website for swag and merchandise, and you can pick us up on Kill Pop. And with that, did I miss anything?
Don't think so, other than be sure to check out Ridiculousness. Any night, at any time,
right now,
any day, any time.
It's literally on right now. In the span that one of the authors had written the article, he said he put it on for, I think it was he just 24 hours, and literally it was like from the time he turned it on until 3 a.m. It was ridiculous. Then it stopped, and then Men in Black came on, the movie. And then it went right back to Ridiculousness. Yep. And so that's the only show. So yeah, turn it on right now. I'm sure it's on. But don't tell me about it, because I have an IQ over 5, and I don't want to hear that shit.
You can tell me about it, though, because I'll be sure to wet my pants.
She's already seen the episode. She's going to know exactly what you're talking about. Anyway, so with that, thank you for listening, and we're out this bitch.
Bye.
Be sure to check out our Finances, the Other F Words playlists for each episode on Spotify.